You say something out loud, not to your phone, not to a voice assistant, just into the room. Maybe it is a product, a place, or some random thing you never searched for. Later that same day, it appears on your screen. An ad, a recommendation, a video, exactly the thing you were talking about. And in that moment, the conclusion feels immediate. My phone heard that. That idea is so convincing because it feels simple. Your phone has a microphone. Apps can use it. Voice assistants are built to listen for a wake word. So when something you only said out loud suddenly shows up later, it feels like cause and effect. It feels obvious. But obvious is not always the same as true. Because the most unsettling part of this story is not that your phone can hear you. It is that, very often, it may not need to. That is where this gets harder to talk about, because the real explanation is not one dramatic secret. It is a slow accumulation of context. Your phone lives beside you. It moves with you. It sees patterns in your day, long before you notice them yourself. Over time, it becomes surrounded by signals. These include when your routine shifts, what holds your attention, what kind of content keeps you watching just a little longer, and what topics begin to appear more often in your digital life. None of those things means much on its own, but together, they can start to point in a direction. That is why this can feel almost supernatural. People imagine a machine hearing a sentence and reacting to it. In reality, what may be happening is less dramatic and more unnerving. The system may already have enough context to make a very good guess about what is about to matter to you. Imagine you mention hiking boots to a friend. Later that day, hiking gear appears on your phone. It feels like proof that your words were heard. But maybe the chain started earlier. Maybe over the past week you had been drifting toward that topic without realizing it. Maybe you had been watching travel content, looking at weather somewhere colder, spending more time around outdoor products, or following the same subtle path that thousands of similar users took before making the same purchase. In that case, the ad did not need your sentence. It only needed your trajectory. And that is what makes this more disturbing than the simple listening story. A microphone would capture what you said. A predictive system works differently. It watches for movement, for pattern, for the shape of a decision before the decision is fully conscious. It does not need certainty. It only needs enough confidence to place a smart bet at the right moment. When that bet lands perfectly, it does not feel like probability. It feels personal. That feeling matters because it is the reason so many people become convinced their phone is listening all the time. They are not imagining the eeriness. They are reacting to something real. What is often unclear is the mechanism. The strange accuracy of the result does not automatically tell you how the result was produced. To be fair, the microphone is not a fantasy. Phones can use it, apps can request access to it, assistants can listen for a wake phrase. That part is real. But that truth can also distract from a larger one. Even if you stripped away the microphone entirely, there would still be systems around your phone trying to understand what might matter to you next. They do that by watching behavior over time and by turning ordinary activity into inferences. That is the deeper issue here. Not whether your phone can hear, but how much can be inferred without hearing at all. Because once you start looking at it that way, the entire situation changes. The question is no longer just whether a device captured a private conversation. The question becomes how much of your life can be approximated from the traces you leave behind. Your interests do not only exist in the things you say, they also exist in timing, in repetition, in curiosity, in what you return to, in what you almost act on but do not. A human being might overlook all of that. A machine is built not to. That is why this story is so uncomfortable. We like to imagine privacy as something clear. Either someone heard us or they did not. Either something was recorded or it was not. But modern systems are not limited to those clean boundaries. They can arrive at a surprisingly intimate picture of a person without ever needing one dramatic breach. Sometimes what feels like spying is really inference becoming good enough to feel indistinguishable from it. And that is a darker possibility because it means the problem is not confined to a single permission or one suspicious app. If the issue were only the microphone, the solution would feel manageable. Turn something off, revoke access, disable the assistant. Those are useful steps, but they do not solve the whole problem. The larger issue is that your phone exists inside an ecosystem that is constantly trying to turn context into prediction. That is why a well-timed ad can stick in your mind so strongly. Not because it proves total surveillance, but because it creates the sensation that something reached into a private space and reflected it back to you. The accuracy does not have to be perfect. It only has to be good enough, just often enough, to make coincidence stop feeling believable. So yes, your phone may have heard that, but the more disturbing possibility is that it didn't need to. What felt private was not your sentence, but the pattern around it. Not your exact words, but the direction your behavior had already been pointing. And once a machine can get close to that, close enough to make a prediction that feels personal, your relationship with the screen starts to change. It stops feeling like a passive object and starts feeling like a surface where invisible systems meet you halfway, shaping what appears in front of you before you fully understand why. That is what makes this so hard to shake. Not the idea that your phone has ears, but the idea that it may already know enough without them. If this made you see your phone a little differently, subscribe to Invisible every day. The most powerful things in daily life are often the ones we never notice until they are impossible to ignore.